When I say Vic, you say season. Vic, season. Vic, season. Toma, 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 toma. Smash that light, then drop a toma. Smash that light, then drop a toma.
Tune in. We gonna let the chat build up.
Toma, toma,
Let go.
toma, toma. When I say Vic, you say season. Vic, season. Vic, season. Toma, 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 toma.
It's finna be an interesting one, bro. I got a few things to say.
Toma. Smash that light, then drop a toma. Toma, toma, toma.
Hit the like button on your way in for sure. Make sure to hit that like button on your way in.
You say season. Vic, season. Vic, season. Toma.
Drop a thumb on the chat.
Toma, toma. Smash that light, then drop a toma. Smash that light, then drop a toma. Toma, 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 toma. When I say Vic, you say season.
Yo, man.
Season. Vic, season. Toma, 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 toma. Smash that light,
Alright.
then drop a toma. Smash that light, then drop a toma.
Alright, we gonna cut the music off real
Toma.
quick. Where the music? Alright, there you
Toma.
go. Listen, man.
Toma.
We gonna get to this, man. I believe Floyd Schofield is the best at 135, and here's why I say that. And I want y'all in the comment section to let me know too what you think. Now check this out, man. Here's my theory when it comes to this, bro. And I wouldn't say a theory. I'd just say the overall, you know what I'm saying? The overall view of what I would consider the best fighter. Shout out to my guy. Welcome to the chat familia, my guy. Welcome to the Vic Season Cartel, baby. Dímelo, papi. What's up, pop? So here's my take when it comes to this idea of, you know, Kid Austin being the best in this division right now, right? And I'm gonna tell you like this, bro. You know, we got great fighters up there like Tank Davis. We got Shakur Stevenson. You know, we got Mortaraya even, right? Which he had got upgraded. You know, you got Cepeda. There's a few hitters up there in the 135 division, right? But I think what a lot of people are not understanding is a few things, right? And this is what when I view who's the best fighter is not only them winning, but how they winning, what's the story behind them, you know, and taking in consideration. I'm not gonna say the triangle theory. I don't like the triangle theory, but what I will say is that when we compare performances, that's what I talk about. I don't do the triangle theory. I do the performances, the triangle performances, right? How did these fighters perform? Not them winning or whatever the case is. I don't like the idea, oh, he beat him, but he beat him. I like to see like, okay, how did he perform against him? And how did he perform against him? That's how I do. So it's more of a triangle performance, not a triangle theory. I feel like the triangle theory more or less relies on, you know, you just beating a fighter and trying to compare it to somebody else losing to them. In this situation, you know, a few of these fighters beat Tevin Farmer. But when we're looking at the performance, you know, look at how Tevin Farmer and Mason is going to fit in this too. Mason is definitely going to fit in this too. And let me see what's up. I don't think Schofield is the best right now, but I see him in the way to become the best. That's much respect. Shout out to my guys. But this is why I say that, right? So hear me out before you even tell me who you believe the best is. And then I'll get to the comments and y'all let me know who y'all think the best is, right? But when we look at the performances of these fighters, when we look at Mortaraya versus Tevin Farmer, I had Tevin Farmer winning that fight, bro. And I'm actually a fan of Tevin Farmer, bro. I'm a fan of his boxing abilities. I promoted him on this channel like twice, 3 times probably. Even on my post, on the picture, I posted it up there. I said, yo, I even gave him encouraging words when he lost the first fight to Zepeda. I said, nah, bro, you gonna come back. God got a blessing for you, bro. And I'm gonna tell you what went wrong in my opinion and why I believe, it didn't apply the same way going into the fight with Kid Austin. And I explained briefly, but I'll probably get a little bit more in depth, right? And I'll show you with receipts. But when we seen Tevin Farmer lose to Motoraya by a controversial decision, now Motoraya gets upgraded to be a world champion. So he's up there. He's one of the fighters, the champions at 135. Then we see Tevin Farmer go to back-to-back controversial, decisions to Zepeda. Now, I did have Zepeda winning, but I wasn't upset if anybody felt like Tevin Farmer won. Because it just, I feel like anybody that just sat here and said, how he got robbed, I don't think it was a robbery situation. If anything, maybe if he did get robbed, it was of a draw. And not necessarily of a convincing victory. In the first fight, Tevin Farmer did knock down Zepeda. Tevin Farmer definitely knocked down Zepeda, but just because you get a knockdown is not enough to win a fight if Zepeda's throwing over 100 punches around and, starts trailing the rest of the fight. You know what I'm saying? So then we go into the second fight. I felt like he just turned it up a little bit too late. And I feel like judges sometimes even look at how the damage is being done. And he was just so worn out. And maybe the judges could have mistaked it for him, just getting really damaged, getting really beat up. But overall, he had some close moments of K knocking out Zepeda, I felt. But I just feel like he just didn't do enough. It wasn't convincing enough to give him the clear victory, in my opinion. But some people said it was. Hey. But then he goes to face Kid Austin. And Kid Austin gets rid of him in the first round. What does that tell you about someone like Motoraya, who's arguably lost that fight against Tevin Farmer, and he's a world champion? What does that tell you about, let's see how Shakur performs now. Now we got to see how Shakur performs against Zepeda. But what does that tell you about Zepeda, who went through 20 plus rounds against Tevin Farmer and couldn't even knock him down once? He threw probably 2,000. He probably threw that motherfucker probably threw 2,000 punches in total against Tevin Farmer in those two fights added up. And not one of those punches or a flurry knocked down Tevin Farmer. But in the first 30 seconds, the first one too, the first one too by Schofield was enough to put Tevin Farmer on his butt. So when we look at that, I would call it the triangle performances, we start to see that, maybe we've been really underestimating Schofield. And I could only go according to performances. Now, obviously, we'll have to see how everything turns out, right? But if we're covering the sport in real time, it's hard to not consider, if not the best, but at least one of the best in Schofield. Now, we're in an era where Tank is having, controversial fights with the fighter that came from 135. I mean, from 130 to 135, which is, it leaves it's distasteful, right, to say the least, because we expected more from Tank. And then the fight wasn't really fireworks either. It was a chess match, but it was just like, it wasn't giving explosiveness. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't giving us fireworks. And that kind of took away from it. We look at Shakur. Even when Shakur knocked out Padley, it just wasn't entertaining. And I'm just being honest. I feel like even when he won against, let me make sure I'm still on here. I want to make sure I'm not getting things. But even when he beat, even in that draw, it just seemed like when he knocked out Padley, it wasn't entertaining. And that's just me being honest. Hit that like button on your way in, by the way. I just felt like it wasn't entertaining, bro. I'm just being completely honest. And I think it's because he's too patient in, finishing his food. I get it. You don't want to rush the process, but I feel like just pick it up a little bit more to finish your food because Padley was pretty much done. He was like done for, right? And it just I felt like it literally took, Shakur too long to finish his food. Like, bro, get him out of here. You know what I'm saying? He's hurt. I get it. Don't rush it. Don't get yourself knocked out. But utilize your IQ to finish him off because obviously you're in, and at that particular moment you're in much better shape. He's hurt. He's wounded. Utilize your IQ and the boxing abilities you speak of to get the job done in spectacular fashion. He did knock down with a body shot, but it was just like, to me, it's just too hesitant, just my opinion. That being said, Motoraya, like there's been like underwhelming performances from Motoraya as well. And it's just his fights are not as exciting either. Schofield is giving us exciting fights, bro. Schofield is giving them even with his the Renee fight, it wasn't the most, but it wasn't like the most convincing victory, but it was exciting. He was trading, he was exchanging. They were telling him to stop, but the warrior side of him said, "No, I need my lip back," and I gotta respect him for that, bro, because at the end of the day, he still got the victory, and he came back and returned to collect the first round KO against a former world champion. Now I do want to say, let me see what's up. My guy says Shakur had 3 rounds to beat Padley. For me, Shakur lost. Yeah, yeah, man. I get it. That's how I feel too, bro. It just feels like it took too long. But my thing was that now I want to get to. Excuse me, by the way. I've been a little like under the weather. I'm still recovering. But now let's look at Mason. And Mason got brought up to this. And I was having a back and forth with somebody on the X app. Shout out to them. God bless them. I think people there's a level of casuals that are in the X app, right? And sometimes there's casuals. Sometimes there's a little bit of a casual in almost every fucking boxing fan, bro. I don't care what nobody say. Every boxing fan, to a certain extent, has a certain level of and it wouldn't even be a casual. It's just that there's just certain things you may not know, and just because somebody else knows it, it doesn't mean that they're casual. So I wouldn't say level casual. Just not everybody knows every single thing. There's the most professional analysts might have not heard of some of the fighters I cover here. It doesn't make them casual. It just means that they have their particular way of covering the sport. You know what I'm saying? That being said, you have other people who are just complete motherfucking casuals, and they don't understand, how the sanctioning bodies work. They don't understand the basics of boxing. I'm not talking about like throwing your hands, and I'm talking about just understanding, like the basic rules. Understanding maybe even basic skill stuff. So when you do cover the sport, you know that what's a 1, what's a 2, 3, 4, 5. The numbers breaking down. In addition to that, like unorthodox, southpaw. You're not saying weird stuff to try to like lefty righty. Sometimes those. My thing is, there's certain people that just don't know the basics, the complete basics, right? And I was going back and forth with somebody, and they actually support my channel. Shout out to them, man. It's no take on nobody. It's all love and respect. But we're comparing Schofield to Mason, and I'm saying that I don't think Mason deserves a. I think Schofield shouldn't. I feel like he'll be leveling down, even though Mason is I guess a mandatory in the WBO. But I just feel like the more impressive victories, the more better resume is coming from Schofield. If somebody like Schofield fought some of the opponents that Mason fought, he would trash them too, bro. It's easy, but I'm not too sure if I could say that in the other way around. Renee's a tough fighter, bro. Renee is a tough fighter. I'm not gonna hold you. We also got Tevin Farmer, which is a former world champion. Somebody utilized as an example, to try to bring value to why Mason's probably better than Schofield is. They brought the opponent that Rolly Romero beat in the decision, right? They brought that up, which Rolly Romero convincingly beat this guy in the decision, right? Then they brought up, excuse me, I forgot who else they brought up, but that's my point. I don't even remember who else they exactly brought up. And my thing was, the fighters that he fought, Rolly Romero just got knocked out by Pitbull and was coming back for a tune-up against this fighter, right? You can't compare it. He had a tune-up and he still beat the guy in the decision with his tune-up fight, just to get himself. We're not gonna get hyped because Mason knocked him out, right? That wasn't considered a tune-up for Mason. That was considered a good matchup for Mason. And even though he got him out of it, that was impressive. But that was like, let's not forget the level of opponents and what's their status according to who they're fighting. We can't compare that. And there was another situation, but my point is, we got a fighter in Schofield who just took out a former world champion. A former world champion. Not just a defending former world champion. You know what I'm saying? That's more elite than what Mason has done. And I'm not trying to take away from Mason. He can be elite. I think he might have he might be able to, he might showcase some type of elite skill. It's like when I cover Keith Colon or when I cover La Roca Lopez or anybody like that, I'll say, I do believe Keith Colon, La Roca Lopez, fighters like this, like they do got, I believe, elite skills. But I can't say that they're the elite fighters in their division without saying that's my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Because again, that's an opinionated type of thing. Until it happens, that's when you could really say he's truly what it is. That's a fact. But I can't make it as a fact because they would still have to do their part, of course. And I believe that they will do their part. But if I sat here and told you guys that, Keith Colon or La Roca Lopez, whoever I cover that's a prospect, is the most elite fighter in that division, I wouldn't be steering you guys towards the right direction. But I do add hype to it. I do add gas to it because I believe in them so much that I know that they're going to get there, right? With Mason, I do believe he could get there. But if we're speaking about right now, in order to become an elite fighter, you have to at least be the world champion, a former world champion. You know what I'm saying? At least a top contender. You know what I mean? But when you're facing opponents that are considered tune-ups, it's hard to and that are not contenders. How can we consider you one of the best or elite fighters there? That's why I don't think Schofield should fight someone like Mason right now. I think that's a good fight down the line. But I feel like we'll destroy that build-up between those two fighters. Down the line, I do believe it'll be great. But right now, I feel like it makes no sense. Especially because, Mason, it'll make more sense if Mason, gets that WBA. I believe he's number one WBA, if I'm not mistaken. WBO, WBA, one or the other. I believe it is WBA. If he has that number one for WBA, go get the title then. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, they'll be fight. You could get title shots without defending, without fighting a top contender. It happens like that. You could just beat a whole bunch of non-contenders and end up in a good position. Politics, that's how it works sometimes, and when it comes to sanctioning bodies. So, do I feel like is he a deserving number one ranked WBA fighter? I don't think so. Does it mean I think that his performances are trash? No, I think he puts on great performances. But someone that's more of a convincing contender is Schofield. Because he's facing fighters like Renee. He's facing fighters like Tevin Farmer. But the way he's finished Tevin Farmer just put the nail in the coffin. Because nobody did it like that. You see what I'm saying? Let me see. Nowadays, fighters get title shots just for having a good sales. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And like I said, people think that the truth is hate. The truth isn't hate, bro. And then they try to reverse it back. Somebody told me, "Oh, but Tevin Farmer's old. He beat a old ass Tevin Farmer." Bro, what do you mean? Even if he is old, but how are you gonna discredit his victory just by saying that? Because he almost beat he beat Maraya in my opinion. And he went into two decisions and controversial decisions with Zepeda. But he got knocked out in the first round. Now he's an old ass Tevin Farmer. Do you see what I'm saying? And they try to utilize that to try to say that, oh, but you said that the dude Jamie and the other dude are, they're not really nobodies. They're not, motherfucker. That's the whole point. They're nobodies right now, bro. They use, oh, this guy went to decision with Shakur, utilize a fighter that Mason won, that Mason beat before. Oh, he went to decision with Shakur and Mason beat him. Bro, Shakur is a decision fighter. What's the flex on that? Shakur is a decision fighter. There's no flex in that. That's not an accomplishment to beat a fighter that Shakur went to decision with. That's just how, you know what I'm saying? What I don't get it. Oh, but he beat, what's his name? Mason beat the guy that beat Rolly. Bro, I mean, that he lost to the guy that beat Rolly, whatever. That Mason beat the guy that Rolly beat. How did that even make sense? I don't even know. But people start to reach for a type of value. Mason is not an elite fighter at 135 yet. That's not me hating. That's just the facts. You have to have it show off. You know what I'm saying? You have to have it show off. There has to be certain people lose. The only way that could possibly happen too is maybe these other fighters are losing to fighters that you already demolished and all that. Then maybe that could play a role, but that hasn't happened yet. We have my guy Schofield knocking out in the first round, and people are trying to take credit away from that. I could never understand that. Farmer is a solid gatekeeper. Everyone was expecting scorecards. The whole card got big gap after that fight. Yo, I'm not gonna lie. That was a great card, by the way. I was good. Yeah, Tevin Farmer was it, man. Farmer is my opinion. Beat Ramon and Zepeda first fight. Yeah, exactly, bro. A lot of people, like I said, I didn't think I'm not gonna say that he won the first. That's me personally. This is my opinion, and this is why I make it clear. I felt like Zepeda won. I think it was a close. I felt anything it should have been a draw. I feel like that fight should have been a draw. But either fighter winning, I wasn't mad at. I think overall it should have been a draw just because of so many people have one fighter winning over the other. And I felt like, I don't know who to go for, but I was leaning towards Zepeda just because of the high punch rate. And I feel like the only thing that was really making, Tevin Farmer get in the picture was the knockdown. And he was active in some of those rounds. And some people might see it differently. Like they see the high punch rate, but he's not landing all of them. But from the naked eye, when you look at it, it just looked like it was more dominant in a lot of those rounds when it came to Zepeda. That's just my opinion, though. But I don't get mad when people thought that Tevin Farmer won. That's what I'm saying. That's my point. Tevin Farmer, lost controversial victories, 3 by the top. And I feel like he beat Raymond, too. I feel like he beat Raymond. And a lot of people feel like he beat Zepeda in the first and second. To get knocked out in the first, don't come on here with that bull crap about his age now. I feel like that's now you're taking away. Oh, he beat an old ass Tevin Farmer. Why couldn't Zepeda do it? Why couldn't Mortaya do it? Right? That's why Mason went into decisions with fighters that were less worthy. He got knocked down. Tevin Farmer, Mason almost got knocked out by Vasquez. Johan Vasquez. He almost got knocked out, and he got knocked down, twice in that fight. And one of those knockdowns that he got, the second knockdown, he got knocked down by Vasquez when his leg was injured. Because remember, they was going back and forth for knockdowns. And if you remember, after he got knocked down the first time, Mason, he came back and got his lip back. You know what I'm saying? And then the way Johan fell, he messed up his leg. So on the way up, it like he was doing Bambi legs, but it was really because the way he fell, he messed up his leg. So now he lost power from his left leg, and he just did a chopping type of punch, not even generating as much power as he could because his legs weren't capable, and he got it done, and he got the knockdown done, and the only reason why he wasn't able to finish the job was because of that injury that he was dealing with. That being said, man, here's the reason why I do believe, you know, someone like Tevin Farmer did lose that fight. Without taking away from the victory, let me see. What about the Puerto Rican from Hoboken with the KO last 10 seconds of the fight? Oh, he's Puerto Rican. I thought he was just English. I I'm not English. I thought he was just like some type of Spanish. I was trying to find out he was Puerto Rican, but there wasn't. I couldn't find. I know his name was Rodriguez, but for sure, bro. I'm definitely covering it. That was an insane. I said that in the group chat. Join the group chat if you haven't. But I say, yo, the Warriors are beating the back foot fighters this time around, right? And I think you know, that now getting to my point, right? When it comes to this, you know, we had somebody, we had Tevin Farmer who made a mistake by not, you know, applying the back foot, and I think he was just trying to like just stay in the pocket and observe the patterns, but he was in he was in the danger zone. You know what I'm saying? He was in the danger zone during the process, hoping that he could just like see one of those punches and just, you know, maybe see a pattern while rolling with a punch. You know, so like, all right, let me see. I'm gonna see if he roll with something and see if I could, you know, start processing the patterns that's being repeated by Schofield. But he should have really stayed on the back foot, but he stood his ground there and got clipped with something big. Now this is something I want to show you guys, man. This is where I feel like he went wrong, bro. This is something I covered earlier today. Let me take this out real quick. And here's something that I noticed. This was an interview with him in Cigar Talk.
Tab, nigga.
No,
You
no,
better
that's not.
make
Yeah.
sure.
See, the thing is this.
So here we go. Excuse me.
This though, the reason why I'll tell you this, the reason why that don't matter in this factor, because we're not even equally skilled. We're not equally nothing. Is it different? We're not equally nothing, bro. So and Robbie, he's a great fighter, young fighter, but at this level, he's not great yet. We're not equal nothing. I can go there and with no trainer and be able. I should be able to beat Ken Austin.
Okay.
And if I can't, then it's time to hang it up. Because if I can't beat you, I can't beat none of the other guys. And I'm entertaining 140.
Oh, you entertaining 140 too?
Yeah. So
Uh-oh. Don't make me start hyping Africa. Tevin Farmer versus Richardson Hitches. Don't make me hype it up, Tev.
you heard it from here first. I'm entertaining 140.
Okay. All right, we like that, man.
So we're gonna end it on that note. And
Yeah, for
niggas,
sure.
I don't want niggas to see me. I don't want niggas to see me on TV or see me. I ain't a little nigga. I'm little or height.
Yeah. But okay. Tab, nigga.
Yeah, man. That was hard to hear after we seen what happened, bro. But there's a few things I want to talk about here that I feel like contributed, you know, just the energy that Tevin Farmer came into with this fight that contributed towards his loss against Schofield, bro. And oh my bad. I know that sounded crazy, but here's what I gotta say. Tevin Farmer, this wasn't the hungry Tevin Farmer that I kind of was expecting to come into this fight. It was so evident that he was looking over Schofield. And it just seemed like he was shunning him. He was even talking about 140. He's saying if I can't beat, he's really discrediting the hell out of Schofield. And then he's even saying, like, it seems like he's putting himself way too high. And the reason, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's just really ironic when it's coming from someone who, even though those losses were controversial, those decisions, I know they were controversial. I even had him winning one of those fights with Motoraya. I had him winning the Motoraya fight, right? So I know it was controversial, but still on paper, he's coming off of 3 losses straight. And I felt like he was talking, you know, with a tone that didn't seem focused for a fighter that was coming off of 3 straight losses. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he was talking too big. Like if he was a world champion. He was talking like he was the shit, like Mayweather type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you know, I'm entertaining 140. If I lose to him, I don't even need a trainer, he said. I don't like this is the type of fighter that I should be able to knock out without a trainer, get him out of there. If I can't beat him, you know, I should just retire. This, that. You know what I'm saying? He's talking like he's already up there. Like if he ain't coming off of on paper again, 3 straight losses, right? I do, like I said, they were controversial. I had him winning one of those fights, but still, there was all very close fights, and on paper he lost, which sucks, but it's the truth. I felt like this is not a type of, you know, approach that I would like to see somebody have that is coming off of 3 straight losses on paper. I would hope to, you know, see somebody be more focused, more thing, and not overlook his opponent no matter who it is. And basically say, listen, at this point, at least say something along the lines like, yo, at this point, listen, I'm already coming off of controversial losses, 3 straight controversial losses. That I feel I want every single one of them, and I just feel like I keep getting robbed. So this time around, you know, I hate that it has to be someone like Schofield, but I really have to I can't take these, I can't lose again, man. I can't lose. So I got the best trainers. He should be talking about shit like that. Like I got the best trainers. I had my nutrition. Like I'm everything about my training camp. I try to outdo it, right? I try to outdo whatever I did in my training camp. Like this is the best training camp. You know what I'm saying? I'm not looking at 140. I'm not right now. I'm not looking at nothing else but Schofield. That he has my full undivided attention. Schofield. I don't care about 140. I don't care about nothing else. You know, I have to win in convincing fashion, flying colors, and I feel like that's not what we got from him, right? Again, just hear what he said.
Yeah. See, the thing is this though. The reason why I'll tell you this, the reason why that don't matter in this factor, because we're not even equally skilled. We're not equally nothing. Is it different? We're not equally nothing, bro. So
so he said we're not equally nothing. We're not equally skilled. We don't equally got the same power. We don't equally, you know, got the same boxing abilities. We don't equally have the same athleticism. You know, we don't equally train the same. There's when he said that, like anything, he made it very generalized off the rip, man. You have to leave space for some type of improvement or something. You know what I'm saying? Some space where you feel like that's gonna push you to go harder. You know, with that type of mindset, that's why people, you know, lose or they have bad performances against lower level opponents because they see him this way. He should have really locked in and said like if he's fighting his biggest competition. But he treated this like if he wasn't. He treated this like this was supposed to be a walk in the park. And unfortunately, he ended up getting, you know, a highlight reel for ages. You know, the best highlight reel for Schofield right now, bro.
Robbie, he's a great fighter, young fighter, but at this level, he's not great yet. We're not equal in nothing. I can go there and with no trainer and be able. I should be able to beat Ken Austin.
He should go in there with no trainer and be able to beat Kid Austin. That's insane. You have a fighter like Kid Austin who has a father figure that's pushing him. He has support system. Support system plays a major role because there's times where you're losing motivation and you need somebody to push you so you can stay disciplined. His father's like, nah, you gotta get your ass up like 3 a.m. Let's go. We going for a jog. You know what I'm saying? Like he has a specific support system. He's still young. You know, I don't you know, someone like Tim Farmer didn't have that type of opportunity to have somebody push him. He came into boxing late. He learned fast. He grew in the sport of boxing quickly, and he got success quickly, right? Because he put in the work, and he lost touch of that going against Schofield, bro. He lost touch of those essence, and he needed every bit of that, no matter who his opponent was. He went to the extent to say that he should be able to beat him without having no type of trainer, no training and shit. Like that's crazy, bro. While we have somebody like Schofield, like I said, training hard, has his father's support, he's, you know, nutrition probably on point. Excuse me. It's just crazy that's what's going on.
Okay.
And if I can't, then it's time to hang it up. Because if I can't beat you, I can't beat none of the other guys. And I'm entertaining 140.
Oh, you entertaining 140 too?
Do you see what I'm saying? If then I should have retired, because if I can't beat you, then I can't beat them other guys. And I'm going to 140. So he got beat in the first round. Not only did you lose, but you lost in the first round. This is what I mean. Now, I'm going to finish playing this and see if there's anything that I caught. But there's one more thing that I want to mention before I get to there, though. Let me play this and see.
Yeah. So
Uh-oh.
Oh, entertaining 140 is crazy. Entertaining 140 is crazy. And announcing that, I never heard nobody announcing. People lie. You gotta notice that?
Toma,
Who do you know?
toma,
Let me turn this off. Who do you know? Makes a public announcement of them stepping up in weight when they still have a fight in front of them. That's rare. A lot of times fighters lie. They lie. They don't. They say, yo, look at Boots. Boots is like, yo, I feel better than I ever had. Going up against what's it? I can't remember. But anyways, his last fight. Boots, what does Boots say? Yo, before the fight, he said, yo, I feel better than I ever had. He said, I feel better than I ever had in my life. He said, I got a nutritionist, everything was good. And then after the fight, I'm moving up. You know what I'm saying? Keyshawn Davis, I feel good. This, that, and third. Ends up coming 3 pounds over. Can't even fight no more. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that he made this announcement of stepping up before the outcome of his fight is crazy. And look what happened. He overlooked them in that type of way, bro. This proves your theory from last week's live that you need to have more than just boxing skills to be the warrior. Tomafia family, toma. How many times I say that? I say it all the time. I always say that. Everybody says, "Oh, he's gonna outbox him. He's gonna outskill him." And I always say that this is a perfect example. Thank you, Jose, for that. And I appreciate your donation. But that's perfectly said, bro. That's what I be talking about. That's exactly what I be talking about, bro. It's not always about your boxing abilities. There's a time where durability plays a role. There's a time where your heart plays a role. The warrior side of you plays a role. Are you willing? People don't understand that. They just think, oh, the person that's the better boxer is always going to win. No, that's not boxing. We're not playing love taps. We're not slap boxing. If this was slap boxing, I would believe you. The person with the better slap boxing abilities will win. But this ain't slap boxing. This is real boxing where and even in slap boxing, you might get fucking bitch slapped so hard and get your jaw wired. You know what I'm saying? Break your jaw real quick with a palm. Bang! Even in slap boxing, you got to be careful. Like, boxing abilities might not always apply. You know what I'm saying? So that's exactly my point. Thank you so much, Jose, because some people be overlooking that. It's very important to understand that the better boxer doesn't always win. Boxing skill doesn't always win. Because even when you have boxing skill, there's going to be some time where you got to take a risk. Tevin Farmer took a risk by trying to study a pattern. That's from my observation. To me, it looked like he was trying to study a pattern and roll with the punches coming in the last minute. So that we see something, boom, trying to roll with it and thought he could take the punch. But that 1-2 came in very quickly from Schofield and powerful. So when he thought he rolled with it, it came from an angle, bang, bang, right? But here's a theory that I have. Now, this is more of a theory. And I think it contradicts. Do you notice anything funny about this interview, bro? I never seen this like this before, bro. I never seen this like this. Let me know in the comment section, what do you notice funny about Tevin Farmer right now? That's something something that is off. Something that's off about Tevin Farmer right now. And I'm gonna make my point that has to do with he was mentally losing a warfare. He was losing the mental warfare leading up to this fight. And I'm gonna say it like this. He's wearing sunglasses indoors right now. In this video, he's wearing sunglasses indoors. Some of you guys say, "Oh, it's it's regular. People do it all the time." No, not everybody does it all the time. Sometimes I'll wear sunglasses in this room and I'm indoors, but I got a bright ass light on me. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I have multiple bright lights on me for my production. Yeah, you caught it. My guy caught it. Sunglasses. Yeah, he was struggling with the. You see what I'm saying? I got light here. There's people that you see him wearing sunglasses, but there's a purpose behind it. So his purpose for wearing the sunglasses indoors isn't because it's sunny inside of his crib. You know what I'm saying? And this is not this particular part is not about me cracking jokes on him or nothing. This is just the cold truth. This is the truth. I'm only gonna speak the truth on this channel. You know what I'm saying? Tevin Farmer was affected mentally. That's one. Two, in the process of, the result of him getting affected mentally, he wore sunglasses to, to disguise his insecurities, right? In the process of that, wearing sunglasses isn't normal. That's not something you should wear. Like, it's not good for your eyes. Wearing sunglasses isn't good for your eyes. Considering that I don't know. I'm not saying that he has, he's blind or anything, right? I don't know. And there's, something he has like, I wouldn't say he's cross. His eyes are just going a little bit more in than the other. There's nothing wrong with that, bro. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? I got some people in my family that their eyes not like that either. Wandering eyes. Thank God you don't got a wandering eye. Sometimes them Jones just go crazy, right? But to me, it's not that bad. But I think, mentally, it kind of got to him to feel like he needed to wear shades indoors. And I kind of seen it more from him than usual, in my opinion. And I know it affected him because he mentioned it and he admitted it himself. You know what I'm saying? He said they were making, they were saying a few things about my eyes in the joint. And, now it's kind of personal. Now I take it personal. And it seemed like he started taking it personal. I think that's where this type of attitude came on. Because I feel like the only thing he had over Schofield outside of his insecurities, and I'm speaking about just the insecurities part, I felt like he had more of the better recent resume. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though he took those 3 losses straight on paper, but there were great performances by Tevin Farmer, and that's what he held on to. So he utilized his success from those fights. Even though he didn't win, but he still got some of the respect from those fights to give him a decent amount of success, and especially financially, where he's showing off his crib, he's talking a high game, like, yeah, he's saying, yeah, like, thank God, I could bless my family, showing his crib off, beautiful crib, man, God bless him and his family. He's showing, he's talking like this, yeah, I'm looking past him, and he overall overlooked it, and I truly believe, this is just my opinion though, that it stemmed from his insecurities, right? I feel like there was a shift in his character. After that happened, after he was getting talked about on a personal note with his with his eye condition, I felt like it threw him off mentally. And then, he started wearing more sunglasses. He's indoors. Now he's talking more crazy. He's talking about stepping up and it's like, bro, why aren't you focusing on the person that's in front of you? You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong. Like, people gonna crack jokes all the time. People on my channel crack. Look, I got a big ass dome piece, bro. A big ass dome. I always had it though. I was. It was worse when I was a kid because my body was smaller, so my head was bigger. And sometimes I get my moments. Sometimes like, damn, man, I wish my hairline was just a little bit more better. You know what I'm saying? More straight. You know what I'm saying? It happens. But when you just accept it for what it is, like, F it. It is what it is. You learn to just not give a shit no more. You know what I'm saying? You don't care to please people. Like, you admit you gotta play. He should have entertained it more. Tevin, he should have entertained it more. Like, if I was him, I felt like if I was Tevin Farmer, I would have got merch made about my eyes. You know what I'm saying? I would have said something like that. You know what I'm saying? But I still see more money. You know what I mean? And have his eyes on the joint, but in the reflection of the eyes, have a stack of money. See, you gotta finesse the trolls. Sometimes you gotta like, own criticism or the trolling or the jokes. You got to own them and admit to them and come forward. And people finesse their way into success into that and utilize that to, do you better. And then talk about how it affected you after. Talk about how that moment affected you after. But he mentioned how it affected him during the fight week, or even the build-up. Not even just the week, but the whole build-up once it happened. And he let it be known, yeah, man, now it's personal. And then they I guess he they ended up mentioning, I feel like family should definitely be off limits. I think sometimes people kind of take it too far, and then sometimes they just mention it in a way where it's not disrespectful, but it could still make the fighter feel uncomfortable. So I get it, you know what I'm saying? But I think the what truly affected him was when they were trolling him about his eyes. And I don't think it was that serious. I don't think it was I honestly thought he had got over it after the face off, because it looked like he was looking like straight into the face. I'm not gonna lie, I was observing that. Let me see how he looks during the face off, and he did look confident in the last final weigh in face off. I'm like, okay, I like this. He's not saying nothing, he's just stepping in his face. And I felt like, okay, I think he's good now, right? But I guess I was wrong. Yeah, man, and it sounds crazy. I'm not saying that that's the reason, but that's just this part is just my opinion, because I don't see why he would want to. I felt like all of this insult towards Schofield at this moment when he was talking stemmed from him probably feeling like he had no other comeback but that. You know what I'm saying? That's what that's my assumption, is that he had no other comeback but that, so he's gonna kill him with success. You know that quote? I just felt like he did it. He overlooked him. He killed him with future success and not the current one. You have to successfully whoop his ass first. You know what I'm saying? Then kill him with that outcome of that success. You know what I mean? Najee is live right now. You could pull up. I'm all right now. Shout out to Najee. I don't got nothing against Najee or nothing. It's just that I don't like hopping on people's wave. If I get invited, that's cool. Yo, Vic, pull up. You know what I'm saying? If he's saying, yo, Vic, pull up, I want to hear your take on this. I'll be like, cool, hell yeah, let me go on. But if I'm not invited, I'm not gonna be here on some, hey, pick me. You know what I'm saying? Nah. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to him, God bless him and his family, you know what I mean? Floyd Schofield, KO Farmer, who tried to punk and flex on him. That's a fact, bro. Let me see. Didn't do a big toma. I don't want to take away from the topic. Excuse me. I don't understand what you mean. Toma, my bad. I didn't understand what you said, bro, but that only works if you got that mouthpiece. Mouthpiece can bring someone far, even if that person can't fight at all. Yeah, no. Yeah, that's a fact. I think the mouthpiece works. The type of mouthpiece he was trying to have, though, it's kind of like Mayweather, right? Mayweather had a mouthpiece, but he didn't have jokes. You see what I'm saying? Mayweather had a mouthpiece strictly because he had something to show for it. Do you see what I'm saying? Mayweather had something to show for it, so that's when he had a mouthpiece. Remember when he was Pretty Boy Floyd? He wasn't OD talking, you know what I'm saying? He was fighting. Yeah, he was a competitive fighter, but it seemed like he really started talking crazier once he reached a certain mark in his career, and that's where all the confidence was like, yeah, I'm Money Mayweather now. You know what I'm saying? I'm him. I'm that guy. It was based, Mayweather's trash talk was, rooted from the success he was having in his career. And I feel like that's the same type of lane and approach that Tevin Farmer had in this interview. But in this interview, you notice that even when you look at Tevin Farmer's career, he don't have that same, level of success as Mayweather to have that type of mouthpiece, at least as of recent. He was a former world defending champion. Never could take that away from Tevin Farmer. One thing that he lacked, though, that even though his last performances were controversial, decisions, on paper, he still lost. So, on paper, he's coming off of 3 consecutive losses. They were controversial, I know, but there's still 3 straight losses on paper. And Mayweather never, when Mayweather talked like that, it wasn't because he was coming off of, losses. You know what I'm saying? He never lost. So that's where the root, the drive of him, his trash talking came from. It came from the success of his career. Tevin Farmer in his recent fights wasn't able to collect that type of success for him to be talking the way he was in this interview. That's just my opinion. And not saying that, like, it just seemed like it is evident when he says stuff like this.
The thing is this though. The reason why I'll tell you this, the reason why that don't matter in this factor, because we're not even equally skilled. We're not equally nothing. Is it different? We're not equally nothing, bro.
You see what I mean? Like, this is just a taste of where he's heading to right now when he's talking. But this kind of reminds me of a Mayweather trash talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no equal in nothing. I beat him all the way around. Anywhere you want to go, I go. Remember we heard that Mayweather say that before, right? Wherever you want to go, you want to go, you want to stay in the pocket. I beat him in his own game. We done heard Mayweather say that. He done beat people like a Gotti. You know what I'm saying? He done beat people like a Gotti in their own game. Whooped the Gotti, bro. So I really feel that Tevin Farmer was having that approach. It's just when I seen this, I had to question where the confidence was coming from, or was it more of cockiness? Because he's coming off of 3 consecutive losses, right? That's where it's like, okay, bro, I would say stay locked in. Don't overlook them, because you're not coming off of, even though they're controversial, I know, but still, on paper, you're coming off of 3 consecutive losses. That threw me off. And he approached it like he was Mayweather, bro.
So, and Robbie, he's a great fighter, young fighter, but at this level, he's not great yet.
At this level, he's not great yet. And that's not, like I said, this is just warming the pot of the shit he goes he goes deeper and deeper and deeper. But you could even question these little things, like he's not that great at this level. But you didn't convincingly win their controversial victories, meaning that even though I did feel like that was more convincing to me when he lost to Ramon. I feel like he really beat Mataraya, in my opinion. But even with the Cepeda fights, yeah, bro, at this level, he might not be far off. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he should have seen him that way. He wasn't, Schofield's not that far off to where the competition of Tevin Farmer. Let's be honest, only because of how the outcome of the performances came out. They were all decision fights. It's not like he just completely annihilated Cepeda. There was a controversial loss where some people felt like, Tevin Farmer won, but he didn't. The people that thought Tevin Farmer won didn't think that he whooped Cepeda. You know what I'm saying? Much respect to Tevin. He never backed down from a fight, and that cojones, he got humbled big time by the kid. Yeah, man.
We're not equal in nothing. I can go there and with no trainer and I should be able to beat Ken Austin.
This, like I said, this is the Mayweather approach. You know what I'm saying? I should be able to go in there and demolish. And I shouldn't have to need no trainer. That sounds like some real confident shit that Mayweather would say, who actually was undefeated. You know what I'm saying? And actually making fighters look crazy in the ring. While Tevin Farmer, like I mentioned, is coming off of 3 consecutive losses. And it's not a good idea when you're going through those phases, whether it was controversial or not. They weren't convincing enough. Let's just be 100. They were controversial, meaning they wasn't convincing enough for either fighter. That being said,
Okay.
And if I can't, then it's time to hang it up. Because if I can't beat you, I can't beat none of the other guys. And I'm entertaining 140.
he just kept getting deeper and deeper and deeper, bro. man, and I'm still a fan because he's a warrior. He didn't back down, but there's you have to come into it with a game plan, man. He's still a warrior. Shout out to Tevin Farmer because he stayed in the pocket, and I think he just a simple mistake, and it was just overlooking your opponent. There's nothing wrong with staying in the pocket, right? I like that he stayed in the pocket, but don't stay in the pocket and overlook your opponent at the same time, right? That's what you don't want to do. He didn't respect the power of Schofield. He still thought he was just a kid. That's where he went wrong. Shakur, even though Shakur stays in the pocket sometimes, but he doesn't overlook his opponents, and that's why his fights are so boring. When he's in there, he wants to win in the most safest way possible, which I hate it, because he could really get finishes. It's just he doesn't apply the pressure. He doesn't have the killer. He doesn't want to have the killer instinct. But if he took a note off of Shakur, it's just to, feel the vibe of the fight first. Circle around. Try to see the patterns from a distance. Don't engage right away. Still be a warrior though. But in the whole beginning of the fight, don't overlook your opponent. Don't sleep on them. You know what I'm saying? Because you might get hit with something you can't recover from, and that's what happened. And then he talking about a move up to 140 is freaking nuts, bro. Nuts.
Oh, you have to change to 140 too?
Yeah. So
Don't make me start.
That was a more cocky statement right there, bro. That was a more cocky statement. I'll be honest, man. That wasn't a confident. This wasn't coming off from confidence. This was coming this was his way of responding to someone like Kid Austin. This was his way without having to. He probably felt like he didn't have anything to top what Kid Austin and his father was saying about his, probably certain conditions that he had and stuff like that. So how you kill him? Let me kill him with success. And I feel like that's what he did. He tried to kill him with some type of success. Like, yeah, bro, I'm going to 140. I should beat him without a trainer. I should have to retire if I can't beat him because I can't beat nobody else. He doesn't do anything better than me, yeah, and I got it's just he found the only way that he believed he could respond to Kid Austin that was overall stemmed from his insecurities. That's my opinion. And him wearing the sunglasses indoors is what kind of gave it away. And you could hear somebody in the background kind of felt like they were telling him, yo, just quiet up.
Hype in Africa, Tevin Farmer versus Richardson Hitchens. Don't make me hype it up, Tev.
You heard it from here first. I'm entertaining the 140.
Okay. All right, we like that, man.
So we're gonna end it on that note. And
I think it was his wife probably was like, yo, we're gonna end it there. You know what I'm saying? We're done, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Somebody told him in the background, basically. But he said, yeah, you heard it here first. And bro, we shouldn't have to. That's not stuff we should hear right now. I feel like that's not stuff that you should even be planning. Coming off of 3 consecutive losses on paper, and then you're totally overlooking your opponent. That's where I feel like he went wrong. I feel like wearing sunglasses, like I said, it does damage to your eyes, man. Wearing sunglasses, especially indoors, when it's not necessary, it does damage. That's why I'd be surprised when Canelo does it, right? When Canelo does it, sometimes I get surprised. So I'm like, yo, how the hell is Canelo doing this? And let me see. Yeah, that's why I get surprised when he does it. Let me go back up here real quick. I'm gonna put on what's the cover. Did I have one here? I thought I had a cover picture here. Hold on. Thought I had a cover. Is it right here? Wait, let me see. I don't know if this is that's for my joint. All right, let me see. I think I should have named it something here, but anyways, let me put it on real quick. Excuse me, y'all. Let me just find this picture real quick. Oh no, this ain't it. But yeah, man, overall, bro, I truly feel like he just OD overlooked. And shout out, I'm not taking away from Schofield's victory, but this is where mental warfare plays a major role in the sport of boxing. Like I said, it's not just about the how good your skill is. You know, it's about, you know, your heart, your durability, your stamina, and it's also about where you at mentally, because that could, you know, affect you physically and how you perform. And nobody really takes that serious until they end up in that circumstance, and it's like, damn, see, that's what happens, bro. That's what happens, and it's no shot at no fighter, man. I'm still a fan of Tevin Farmer because it's unfortunate that he wasn't able to really show us what he had. But then again, did he even have a trainer? Did he even have a trainer? That's you know what I mean? I'm very curious because he was talking like he didn't even have a trainer. You know what I mean? He was talking like he didn't even have a trainer, which was I was very surprised about, bro. Very surprised about. Excuse me. Damn, man. I haven't been feeling the best, but yeah, he wasn't. I was very confused about that, bro. I agree with you. I say he was cold and paid the price for that for not respecting the kid power. Yeah, man. He kept calling him kid. Like his name is Kid Austin, but he's not a kid, bro. He's still a man, and he got motherfuckers getting knockouts, bro. He grew into his man strength early, and even the fact that he said he didn't really grow into his body, like even physically, I was like, oh, how? I don't know what type of delusional he was on when he said that. I was confused. Hitchens is a cherry picker. Yeah, he would have been. But my thing was, how is that even happening, bro? I was very confused when I heard that, bro. I was very confused. Make sure to hit that like. I was very confused when I heard that, bro. I didn't understand what the hell was going on. But for the most part, man, it is what it is. Shout out to my guy, man. I don't know what else to tell him, man. I don't know what else to say outside of the fact that I hope that Tevin Farmer recovers, you know, safely, healthy with his family. I'm hoping that he's still got paid good to continue supporting his family. I'm not sure if he's still gonna be going up to 140. I don't think that's, you know, maybe he does, but I mean, I I don't think it adds more excitement to 140 right now, considering what's going on. This is 4 straight now, but the last one just makes the rest look really bad. You know, it kind of like now we forgot about the controversial victories, the controversial decisions that he could have won because he got knocked out in the first round. So does he retire? You know, I don't know. So that being said, man, God bless him, and congratulations to Schofield. And that's all, man. God bless you. I already know what's up. I'm out though.